All right, when we generate an index, we're getting an index of markers where we've added the content to these markers. We've determined what we want. So we have these entries, and if we Control-Alt-Click, we'll go to the marker in the document that has that entry that we've added. But FrameMaker does its own addition to an index in the form of these group titles. So it decides what group titles to add. So when it sees one or more entries that starts with a symbol, it will automatically add this group title. For numbers, it automatically adds this. And of course, for every letter of the alphabet, it's going to add the corresponding letter and separate these out. And if you look at the lower left-hand corner of the document window, you'll see that it uses this group titles paragraph format, group titles IX. Now we do have some control over how this works. So let's go to the reference page. And we'll go to the IX reference page. And what we want to look at is this group titles IX paragraph. Now let's zoom up here so we can see more of this. And this happens to be a very large paragraph. There's a lot of characters in here. And when we triple click, we see that that whole thing highlights. So that's all one paragraph. And the first thing we can do is we can actually change these group titles. So one thing we might want to do is let's just try something here. If we change it from numerics to numbers, that's what's going to appear for numeric entries. So let's just go back to the body page, and we'll go ahead and update that. And you can see now instead of saying numerics, it says numbers. Now, you know, typically you're not going to need to do that or want to do that, but this just to let you know how this paragraph basically works. So let's go back here and we'll show you a more practical example of what we might want to do here. So let's go to View, Reference Pages, and we'll change this back to numerics. Now, if we look carefully at this, what we can see is what's happening here is it's saying, okay, under the heading numerics, we're going to start with a 0. And we don't have to put a range in here, but in square brackets, we're basically telling it anything that starts with a 0 on through the next entry, which is letter A, put that under numerics. So that's really how that works. Now, the way we can do this for other entries is we'll go here, let's go to the body page, and let's go to the end of this index. And we've added some nonsense entries here. We've got an X entry, we've got a Y entry, and we've got a Z entry. And since we only have one each, as a matter of fact, we just have one under the W's, we may want to combine these under a single heading, and we'll show you how you do that. So we go back to the reference page, and we go all the way down here, and so we want our entry to start with W. So what we're going to do is we're going to determine what we want the entry to be. So we want this entry to be W through Z. So we're going to add a dash, and we're going to add the Z character. Now what we have to do is we have to tell it what we want to put in there. So in square brackets, we're just going to put a W. And so we're basically saying any entry that starts with W or higher, put that under W through Z. And so what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to get rid of these X, Y, Z entries, including the trailing semicolon. So now what you're saying is my entry is going to be W through Z, and anything that starts with W on through the end of the alphabet is actually going to be under that heading. So let's go back to the body pages, and we'll go ahead and update this. Okay, so you can see what it did. It created a W through Z heading, which is what we told us to do, and anything that starts with W or beyond that in the alphabet, it's going to put under that heading. So if you have some short entries, that's a good way to combine them.